and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is part 4 of our video. But before we move forward towards the other implementation, what I'll do is that I'll refactor some of my changes that I did in the previous 3 videos. Okay. The first issue that I faced while working on this project was that this fake store API basically doesn't do actually anything dynamically. They have the static responses that they return for the API calls, which in our case would have like killed the impact of the way we want to implement, because we want to implement a real-time product that basically we can use, right? So what I did is that I took some time and I created my own backend for this whole project, and that project is basically currently live at this level, right? And over here what I have done is that I have basically created the users API, products, categories, cart, orders and stuff, right? And also what I have done is that basically I have updated the responses the way we basically show. So like for categories, previously the response was just a string of array, right? But right now it is something like that. Basically the documentation is not yet updated, but the thing is that we have updated some responses as well. So what we will do in this specific video is that we'll refactor our current code to be able to communicate with this one, right? And if this specific endpoint is not working, I'll basically post the backend that is basically written in Ktor in my GitHub repo as well, so that if you want to deploy that into your own local machine, or if you want to deploy it on the server somewhere, you are able to do that as well, right? So how we can do that, that is a separate thing. We can maybe create a video if you want on that, but it's pretty simple, right? It's just like a running Android code. So that's what we are going to do. Now enough talking, let's just get to the code, right? So I'll open up my Android Studio, and the first thing that I want to do is that I need to change the endpoint of my services. Okay, so I'll go to the data section, and inside the data section I'll go to the network module. In the network module you can see that I have this thing, sorry, not network module, into the network service implementation. Okay, inside the network module you can see that I have this base URL, right, basically currently targeting this point. So what I'll do is that I'll go to the e-commerce app that basically I created, and I'll just copy this link over here. I'll post this. Basically this has been deployed on my Heroku server, and I'm not sure how long I can keep it, but I'll try to keep it as much as possible. So yeah, I'll copy that link, and what you can do is that we'll paste it over here like this, right? So this base URL is there. Other than that, this specific product that we have, this get product, now what we will do is that we'll get the category by IDs rather than names, because it makes sense, right? Because we might have categories with same name, right? So what I'll do is that I'll start with the very basic level. Over here you can see I have this thing. So what I'll do is that I'll replace it with the integer. Okay, so I have dated it into the integer, and now if I go back to the implementation, it will complain because we need to change the abstract implementation of this as well. And now this get service network service says that I cannot identify any method with an integer, because we have to update over here as well. So I'll update it over here as well. And now you can see that this error is gone, but network service implementation, the implementation that we did in that, need to be updated as well, right? So I'll update it over here like this. Okay, now the thing is that this basically stuff will work, but there is another catch as well. Since I mentioned that the responses of uh, the response of our API will be different than the response of what we have. So like over here, if I show you the products, so if I show you, you can see that now what we do is that we have this JSON object, and that JSON object contains, basically we have a message and then we have data, and then that data is basically supposed to be available like this, right? So slightly change. Previously what we had is that we had a list of direct products, but right now I have just like encapsulated inside another JSON object. So what we'll do is that I'll just copy this, right? And I'll copy this specific JSON that I have, and then that JSON I'll go to the Android Studio, and inside the data model, like over here, you have these models, right? Over here, what I'll do is that I'll create another package and I'll call it response. Okay. And now over here, I have this plugin enabled. You can enable that plugin as well. That is Kotlin data class for JSON, right? So you can just click on this and then you paste everything that you have, and beneath that you can call it like what you want. So basically I'll call it product list response. So I'll call it this and then generate. When you click generate, it will generate the necessary files required for you. Okay. Now, I have this product model for data, basically that is already available. So, and this is almost the same thing, just a couple of changes that I have done. So I'll copy this and I'll delete this because I already have this, right? The only there is like certain changes that we might want to do, like the category ID is now different. And according to that, I'd also update the domain product as well. Okay. So what do we need is that we need a category ID, I guess. Once we do that, that should go away. That should be category ID is equals to category ID, right? Second thing is this model says that I need a long, so I'll just change it to int so that it can, and also this should also be an integer. Okay, so now this is done, right? This product model is serializable. So what I'll do is that I'll do the same thing for this as well. And over here for this data model, what I'll do is that I'll change it to data product models. Okay, so that is the thing, that is the stuff that we wanted. Second thing is that this change is done. Right now I'll do the same thing in my domain class as well. So I'll go over here and then I'll create another, like let's just call it something like this. So what I'll do is that, so I'll go over here in the model section and then I'll create a new class and I'll call it product list response. Okay. And over here what basically we want is that we want a exact replica of what we had, but the only thing that is different over here would be the product. Previously it was something else, right? And for data, let's call it products. Okay, now this is done and we'll go back to our this specific class. Now what we need is to do is that we need to create the mapping as well, right? Like this. So I have just created this mapping. In this specific mapping, what we do is that we convert this response into the product list response of our domain, or maybe we can a little bit change the names of this so that it's like more understandable for us, right? So I'll say I'll product list model. Now if you look into this response will be object updated to this one. Okay, so this is done. And now inside this specific class, you can see that right now it's returning a list of products, but now we have the models, right? So what we will do is that we'll go back to the network service, and rather than returning this specific thing, what we will do is that we'll change it to product list model. Okay, this is what we want. And the implementation of this, since it's going to be the implementation over here, we'll update this as well, product list model. Okay, and over here, this is the difference that basically we want to make over here. If you remember, what we did is that we passed the data models that we have coming from our backend, and that is going to be the product list response, right? And then what we need to do is that we need to switch that to product list. Okay, so basically this will be calling this method, and over here it will just update everything that we have. Okay, so this is the slightest change that we had to do. And after this change, do we miss anything? I don't think we are missing anything other than this. And now what we'll do is that we'll update the rest of the things as well, because this is Um, these also these changes need to be updated as well. It says that it should be list of, because over here it is list product. So let's just call it product list model. Okay. Now this repository is done. This is done. One use case is left. So I'll go over here and then you can see this basically, first of all, it want me to change it to an integer and then return the get product. And now you can see that it returns a product list model. Okay. So this is done. And I'll go to my home screen where basically I'm fetching these products. So I'll go to my presentation layer, UI and features slash home screen in the home view model. Now over here, the thing is that this was requiring a list of product, but this is basically returning a list of a total object. So what I'll do is that I'll change this to products and then it will be done. And definitely we need to change this to integer as well, because initially this is like this. And now these hard coded value will be just updated to, let's say, 1 and 2. That's it. Okay. That is the one thing that we did. And now let's just run this code and see if now we are able to fetch the products from our backend and not the fake API stored one. So I'll just place it over here and let's hope everything works. And now you can see the products can be found over here. Cool, right? The second thing is that we need to fetch the data for the category. Now you can see I don't see the categories because they also need to be updated. So what we'll do is that we'll update the categories stuff as well, and we'll do the same thing like we have done over here for the network. So the first thing is that I need to get the response object, right? So I'll go over here. Where is that? Or let's just call it okay. So you can like copy it from here, and if you don't have access to this, which you don't have it, so what you'll do that will you can just copy it from here. I'll update these as well, right? So what I've done is that basically I'll get this object again. Okay. And now I'll go to the data models in the data section, right? And inside that model section over here, what I'll do is that I'll create a new response object. And again, this plugin that you can use for Java Kotlin, for JSON and Kotlin. So I'll name it categories list response. Okay. Now I'll generate it. Once I generate it, it will again create a data class, which I don't want. So I'll just name this specific class to be something else. So I'll go to refactor, rename and call it category data model. Okay. So that we know that this is a data model. Now we have this thing, right? And now I'll just place it a little bit above that layer that we have. And now inside this category list, you see that we have this data over here, which is basically for this, right? Now we need the same process for this inside this model over here as well. So I'll go over here and then I'll create a class by the name of category, right? And it's going to be a data class, and over here it will be the same thing like this. Okay, that's done. Another thing is that we need this category list response model as well. So I'll just call it over here and then I'll change the name of it. And over here, this is going to be category. Okay, this is done. Now, another thing is that this specific class needs to be serialized as well, right? Like we did for all the other one, and this one should also be serializable. That's one thing. Second thing is that we need to create the mapping as well. So what I'll do is that I'll just create a two category function, and this is basically this coming from the domain model, right? And then we create that from this. And over here in this category list response as well, what I'll do is that I'll create a two category list as well so that it can map it to that. And now I guess we are done. I'll just do one change over here that we don't want this to be data. Let's call them categories. Okay. Now, okay. So this is done. And over here now what we'll do is that we need to update our use case. So this time I'll go through this. I'll go to the category repository, and now rather than list, what I'll do is that I'll call it categories list model. Okay. And this implementation of this should also have this. Right now it says this, so we'll update this. Okay, and I'll just copy this so that I don't have to do this over and over again. And now over here as well, we need this to be updated to this, and category list model. Okay, and for the implementation of that, we'll go to the implementation of this, and now over here it is also requiring us to be using this. And now you can see again that what we were passing the list of string. In our case, this is going to be category response, right? And in return, what we want from this is that we want this to be this. Sorry, there's just one thing that I missed. Since we were not passing the mapper before, since we had these both strings, now what I'll do is that I'll need a mapper as well. And over here inside this mapper, what we'll do is that we'll define the data model, sorry, the categories that is going to be the categories list response, and then over here that is going to be categories dot to categories list. Okay, I guess that should work. What else to, oh sorry, it's category list models. Okay, now when we do that, our category stuff is done. So we'll get over here, everything looks fine other than this, because this is the problem with that we are using category data model. So I'll update this. Now everything looks fine. I'll go back over here, and over here you'll see that now we are again getting this issue, and this time the issue is because it is returning an object and we want a list, and now we don't have the list because we have these categories. So how do we fix that? So to fix that, what I'll do is that I'll go to click on so to fix that, what I'll do is that I'll select categories and then I'll map it. What exactly this does is that basically it will create a new list for me with just this one property. We can return the whole categories and we'll definitely update it to use the whole list. But for now, what I'll do is that I'll use this. Okay. Now, when I do that, and then when I run it, you'll see that now I will get the categories as well. Oh, okay. There is something. Yeah, we updated that. So we need to update the mapping as well for that. So rerun this, and now let's see if the changes are doing their job. We still didn't get the categories, and we need to check why we didn't get the categories. So I'll go over here. I guess we don't have that. So what we need to do is that we need to do one more thing so that we know the API calls are working or not, right? So I'll go over here, and inside the DI and network module, this network module don't have any logger. So what I'll do is that I'll create a logger as well over here, and we'll do this something like this, right? And you can import and make sure that you import the client plugin loggers. Okay, this will basically log all the messages for us. And let's just add one more thing to this backend handler so that I know that this is a basically backend log and I can filter based on that. And or maybe you can call it this way, log.d, and I'll just get rid of this, right? Okay, right? And now let's just run the code and see why the categories didn't work for us. Okay, this worked. The app is running, and now I'll go to the log cat, and over here you see I have this backend logs, so I can just filter them. And when I fetch catch, okay, so basically the thing is that when I fetch this, it says the status 400 message, and what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to make this call, which is the wrong call. The endpoint, which basically the endpoint for this is on a different place. So I'll go to the network service simple, and then over here I'll just get rid of this. The thing is that this is basically directly available at this level, and I can show you over here as well that like it says that right after that you can just get categories. So what we were doing is that we were using a wrong endpoint, so I'll just update that endpoint, and once that is done, it will be done. It will start working the way I was expecting it. So let's see. Now you can see that you have this one. Cool. So the thing is that now it looks good, but I want to add some animation to it. Like when we draw these, they should come with some sort of animated flows, right? Okay, so to add this animation to these list that I have over here, you can see that I have this home content which contains almost everything, and then from there on we have this raw, sorry, not this raw, over here we have these, this lazy raw that basically we display this text item for this, and over here in this home product list we have this another lazy raws that basically display. So what we'll do is that we'll try to add some animations to these. Okay, the first thing that I would like to do over here is that we need to add some animation to this. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll over here what I'll create key for this. Okay, and that key is going to be the category key, is going to be whatever the thing is, like for each item this will be done. Okay, second thing is that we would like to do some animated visibility like this, and animated visibility is going to be coming from a variable. Okay, that is going to be, let's call it wall is visible is equals to like this. Okay, the second thing is that what I'll do is that I'll call it launched effect, and for once, like just for once, I'll call it true, and then over here it will be is visible is equals to true, and let's just make sure this is this. Okay, and now over here what I'll do is that I'll call it this. Second thing is dot value. Second thing is that we need to define some animation as well. So what I'll do is that I'll call it fade in animation plus expand vertically. So this is just like there are like two combination of two different animation. One is the fade in functionality. The second one is that it will expand vertically. So like it will come from top of it. And I'll just get this text and add it inside this. So that is the one thing. Second thing is that we need to add the implementation, the same like structure for this as well. So again, for this as well, what we'll do is that we'll go over here and we'll add key to this. Okay, like we did for the other one, and now the same structure that I had for this, where is this one. Okay, so I'll just copy this because we already have implemented it. So I'll just copy this over here, and over here what I'll do is that I'll do animated visibility, the same structure that we did, right? And I'll post that thing inside this. Okay, now we have this animated visibility implemented, and now let's see how it looks. So I'll just run this and we'll see if like there is any sort of animation that we can see. So it's loading now. Let's see if we see it. Okay, so it crashed rather than showing anything. So let's just identify why it crashed. So it says that the product has this, and because it's not supposed to be added inside a bundle. Okay, fine. So we can just change it to like, so it dot, let's use id for this, and now let's just run it. If we make it serializable, it will work, but we don't want to do that. Let's just keep it simple. So this should now you see, like you can see there is like some sort of animation, like everything is coming from top of it, right? You see, like this. So this was I would say this is it for this video, because it might get long as we go, but for now let's just close this video over here. In this video, what we did is that we switched to our backend, to our own backend, right? So thank you so much for watching the video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe, and don't forget to like and comment your views and suggestion if you have any in the comment box. And I'll see you in the next video. So till then, happy coding. Bye.